Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome.
Norman is in the house.
Hey.
Oh, sorry, I muted you. My bad. Oh wait, and I muted you too, Jesse. Sorry, guys.
Jesse.
Norman, how you doing, buddy?
You.
Oh my god.
Yes. Good job, Norman.
Yeah.
Wow, I love it.
Tia kept checking every day, make sure all 3 bottles were still sealed up.
Gotta lock that up.
Oh,
Our glasses are empty. What's going on now? Come on.
Oh, well, welcome everyone. It is our April virtual tasting. It is wonderful to see everyone once again. And we're really excited. We have a great lineup of wines tonight. Our focus this evening is going to be on the varieties of Southern Italy. And then we're gonna just talk a little bit about our take on these wines. And so yeah, just so you guys know, I muted you all as normal. Feel free to unmute yourself. I actually find that really fun. Last time we got to meet everyone's pets and that was so great and really a good time. But if you want to, you can also use the chat box. We'll kind of keep an eye on that and answer any questions you have throughout the evening. But yeah, we really do have a wonderful lineup of wines. We're going to be trying our newest variety that we brought on to Jacuzzi, which is our Malvasia Bianca, our new vintage of our Nero d'Avola, and a Jacuzzi staple, our Aglianico. And yeah, we'll just kind of jump into the flavor profile of each, talk about the winemaking, and answer any questions that you guys might have. With that, before we jump into the wines, I'll do a brief introduction. I see a lot of familiar faces, but for those of you who are maybe joining us for the first time, my name is Megan Klein. I'm part of the second generation at Jacuzzi Family Vineyards and have been working with my family for the past 6 years now, doing just a little bit of everything. I work with Tom, our winemaker, in the winemaking in the cellar and the vineyard, work with our hospitality team, work with marketing, just a little bit of everything as you do in a family business, which keeps things fun. And I'm here tonight with our winemaker at Jacuzzi, Mr. Tom Gendel. And we're also here with our club manager, Jesse. So Tom, if you could introduce yourself, tell us a little bit about your history, your background, and then Jesse, I'll have you do the same.
Yeah, my name's Tom Gindel. I'm the winemaker at Jacuzzi, have been since 2019. Yeah, I've been at Klein. I'm from New Zealand, so I talk a little faster and sound a little English. There, I got my winemaking degree in New Zealand, and then did a few harvests in New Zealand, also did 6 months in Germany, and moved to the States in 2011. So believe it or not, this is 10 years of watering down my accent. And yeah, I worked in Napa and Sonoma. In 2016, I started at Klein and kind of worked my way up and love the Jacuzzi wines and love exploring these awesome new varietals and showing these awesome new wines and teaching people wonderful new things about another world of wine.
Awesome. Thanks, Tom. Jesse.
Yeah, so my name is Jesse McGrew. I'm the wine club manager. I've been at Jacuzzi since 2019 as well. I'm American, but I talk a lot like Tom, just fast and like, let's have some fun. But yeah, I look forward to doing these virtual tastings every month with you guys. And, you know, I recognize a lot of names, but it's always fun to see the faces to those names.
Awesome. Okay, with that, if you guys have the first wine, make sure to open your Malvasia, pour yourself a glass. We're gonna jump right in, and I need to pour myself a little bit more for sure, because I'm super excited to talk about this wine. So let me share my screen with you first. And I really just wanted to give you guys a visual, and actually thank you to Jesse for creating this. We wanted to give you a visual of where Malvasia is typically grown in Italy, and actually, it really is grown all over Italy, but probably the most famous region where Malvasia is grown is in Italy is in Sardinia. But the Malvasia that's grown and made there is really made in more of a dessert wine style, made in this like passito, passimento style, where they actually dry the grapes out, concentrate the sugar, and you get more of a dessert wine. So our version is definitely dry. And so this taste profile is really just generally what you can expect from Malvasias. Ours definitely sways away from this a little bit. Our interpretation is definitely a little bit drier, but what's so amazing about this wine is the aromatics. I absolutely love the aromatics of this wine. It is straight cantaloupe, as my younger brother pointed out earlier today, and just loads of peaches, just loads of floral. I just think this is absolutely delicious. And ours is grown in the Paso region. So I'll have Tom kind of talk a little bit more about Paso, but in general, we are highlighting varieties of Southern Italy, and what those all have in common is that they love warm, kind of Mediterranean climates. So with that, Tom, I'd love to have you talk just a little bit about the process, the winemaking process, and your interpretation of the variety.
Yeah, thanks, Megan. Yeah, this was fun. This is really fun. There's not much Malvasia growing around here. It's really, really difficult to find. There's small pockets of it all throughout the state, but no real kind of large places to get it from. We got in touch with a great farmer, French Farms vineyard down in Paso Robles, and managed to get ourselves like 5 tons of it. So we didn't make a huge amount of it, but it's turned out to be quite popular. So we're going to try and make a little bit more this year. Yeah, basically we pick it. Malvasia is an interesting variety. It loses its acid pretty quickly. It likes the heat, but that acid will drop out. So we picked it a little earlier, kind of like 22 Brix, 23 Brix. Hand harvested. We then put it into the press. We whole cluster pressed it, so we only got the very nice, fine, elegant juice out of it. Very light, not too many solids or anything like that. And the grapes, to be honest with you, are some of my favorite grapes to try. They taste delicious. Really, really kind of like orange flavors and mandarin, and you get some of that pineapple and those melon flavors, and some really nice peach too there as well. The grapes are super, super flavorful and really, really delicious. And what that normally kind of indicates is that you're not going to get like the grapes taste great already. You don't want to lose any of that. So we kind of wanted to be really gentle with it. We fermented it in stainless steel, and we inoculated it, and then we kept it at a really cold temperature. So we inoculated it at around about 55 degrees. And as the fermentation got healthier, we knocked that temperature back and back and back. Because their grapes are so aromatic already and naturally, by keeping it cold, you're going to preserve more of that natural aromatics. We didn't want to stress the fermentation, but we wanted to keep it as cold to preserve as much of that fruit flavor as possible. And I think it's come through really, really nicely. It's a beautiful translation of the grapes into the wine. From then on, we basically just really simple winemaking. We just settled it down. We kept it in stainless steel and basically bottled it a couple months later. So, this is one of our first 2020 wines to go into the bottle. It's only it's end of April right now. So yeah, super delicious, super fresh, really vibrant, and a lot of fun to drink. And during summer, I think this is going to be a real crowd pleaser by the pool or wherever you are and however you like to enjoy yourselves.
Yeah, and I think we used to make a Moscato, and I think this is kind of like the grown-up version of Moscato because it does have all those really beautiful aromatics, but it's dry and it has a bunch of texture still. Like I really enjoy this wine. I think, yeah, it's gonna be a new Jacuzzi staple for sure.
It's funny that you say that though, because I've talked to several people that really loved our Moscato, and I told them about, the Malvasia Bianca, and I was like, well, it's not sweet, but it's got a lot of fruit going on with it, so you probably enjoy it. And yeah, a lot of the people have fallen in love with the Malvasia.
Yeah, absolutely. What would you pair with this, Jesse? I mean, I think we sent out some recommendations, but do you have like a go-to meal that you would make with this?
Well, for this one, I just get a lot of the honeydew melon, the stone fruit. So for me, like Tom said, I would really love enjoying this outside, on a real nice day. So for me, I think I would probably just go with a cheese plate, some with some burrata. Yeah, some burrata, some I would go with actually some hard cheese. With this wine would go really nice. And
Nice.
some fruit.
How about you, Tom? What's your go-to pairing?
Yeah, I actually think this would go really nicely with like a dessert at the end of the night. I kind of like a drier style, like and I love custard. Any custard based dessert, maybe with a bit of fruit thrown in there. Yeah, but I think cheese, you can't go wrong with cheese, obviously. Cheese goes with everything. Yeah, I kind of see this as more kind of like an aperitifs, maybe a charcuterie plate before you have dinner and things like that. Kind of when you're hosting guests, you're trying to explore some new wines and stuff like that. You know, or light fish. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and guys, really quickly, I already said I'm super excited for this tasting, but it's extra special because my cousin is here, Corey Klein. What's up, everyone?
Yay.
It was her birthday not too long ago, so I am raising a glass to you, Corey. Happy birthday! I love you.
Happy birthday,
Great to see
Corey.
you. And I would love to hear what everyone thinks of the wine. It's a brand new variety that we have at Jacuzzi. I think, yeah, I would love to hear your guys' thoughts. Feel free to drop them in the chat. And then Tom, Paso. I mean, obviously we had to search far and wide for Malvasia. And what about this growing region? It's hot. Does Malvasia kind of thrive in that? Like I was saying, Southern Italy is kind of known for hot Mediterranean climate. So is it kind of a nice comparison?
So it's a little, actually, Paso Robles is interesting because it technically has the highest swing from night to day of any region in California. So in that respect, it's actually, I suppose Sardinia is really, really hot, but it's also moderated by the temperate Mediterranean that's around it. So, we've probably got more extremes out there in Paso Robles than they do in Sardinia, which helps you kind of retain a bit more of that acidity, also gets you more bright fruit. This was picked in the early September, I think it was. It was kind of like the first week of September. So it's not super early, and it's not super late. You're talking 22 bricks, so that's a nice ripening period for us. I think also it's got very heavy it's got very kind of dusty soils that aren't great for growing. So you naturally restrict your yields that way. And I think it's just kind of nice. Italian varietals are quite difficult to ripen outside of Italy because there is so much heat out there. So Paso is a really good place to guarantee your ripeness and guarantee a good growing season. Yeah.
Awesome. Great. I want to move on to the second wine, but I don't want to down this, but I probably should just get another glass.
I already did.
Okay, this is a great question actually because I pronounce it Malvasia, but I think it might be pronounced Malvasia. I honestly don't know the right answer.
I say Malvasia, so I don't even know.
I'm not the person to give people pronunciation lessons.
I took Italian for a long time. I should know this, but I feel like there's so many different interpretations. I say Malvasia, but we might have to get Google pronunciation up in here.
I trust you, but I swear the way I say it, like I don't have Alex, our tasting room manager, correct me, and he's Italian, so I don't know.
Yeah, that's fair.
It's saying Malvasia.
Malvasia.
Yeah,
Malvasia. Yeah.
Ooh, okay. So actually, Katrina says that she loves Vermentino, and we have some really exciting news. Actually, at Jacuzzi, we're so invested in these hard to find Italian varieties that we just planted a bunch at our estate. So we planted some Vermentino, which is really exciting. We can't wait until that is ready, grows up a little bit and we can make some wine from those grapes. We also planted some Nero Diavola and some Giraldago, as well as some Dolcetto. So we're really, leaning straight into the obscure, unique Italian varieties, and it's been super fun. And that is a really good segue because the next wine is our Nero Diavola. And I know, Tom, you'll probably talk a little bit about this, but the grower actually pulled out these vineyards, which is super upsetting. We have gotten the fruit for quite a long time. So it is kind of a blow, but it's great that we were able to plant some of this variety on our property, and it'll be interesting to see the difference between Tracy Hills and Carneros. But regardless, and I'm gonna have to dump this, which is extra. Actually, pause. I'm getting another glass.
Pause, I'm getting another glass.
That's good attitude as well.
That's wine abuse. That's wine abuse.
Hey, you're allowed 2 glasses. Just means you get to drink more wine.
Yeah, I just refuse to dump that.
No, don't do that.
All right. Moving on, second wine, super excited. This is definitely done in a new style, and this is our 2019 Nero Diavola. And let me share my screen again. We'll kind of dig a little bit deeper into Nero Diavola from Italy. So this is definitely the most famous grape that they grow in Sicily. It's really what they're known for there. And I think what's interesting, kind of like the Malvasia or Malvasia, is that in Italy, Nero Diavola is oftentimes compared to things like Cabernet Sauvignon, Syrah. It's definitely has this reputation for being a bigger bodied red wine. And I think it's interesting because the old world, when we think of old world wines, we tend to think of wines that are a little bit more rustic, a little bit lower in alcohol, a little bit more secondary note driven. And I actually find that our wine, our interpretation of Nero Diavola is a little bit the opposite, where I think, this wine is coming in at 12.5%. So it's just it's lower alcohol. It's definitely not anything like a Cabernet or a Syrah. I would actually tend to say that this one leans more towards like a Pinot Grenache, like somewhere in the middle between those two. And sorry. And so, yeah, I think it is kind of a departure from what you would typically find in Sicily. But again, Sicily is hot, dry. They tend to get a little bit riper, but I am really interested, and Tom, you'll have to talk a little bit more about Tracy Hills as a growing region, and maybe it's also Nero Diavola as a variety. But I tend to think of Tracy Hills as a warm area. So I'm surprised that we didn't get this riper, but nonetheless, I actually really love the flavor profile of this wine. I get tons of like dried rose petal, really juicy red fruit. And I think juicy is such a good word for this wine because I get a ton of strawberry, kind of that raspberry, pomegranate, juicy red fruit coming out of here. So yeah, I mean, when you look at this taste profile, this is generally the taste profile that you're going to get from Nero Diavolas in Sicily. I would say ours should all kind of be in line with that dry line where that kind of ends, because it's definitely lighter to medium bodied, light, medium tannin, and actually really bright, juicy acidity. So Tom, I would love to hear your take on that, and then just kind of the winemaking.
Yeah,
behind this.
that photo just makes me really hungry. That chimichurri on top of grilled steak just sounds amazing. But no, this is really interesting, and I am really curious to see how it goes in Carneros, because Tracy Hills is basically, it's on the western edge of the Central Valley. It's a highly mineral-rich area. It's actually, that's why it gets its own AVA. That's why it's a special area. There's high deposits of gravels and alluvial sands and things like that to basically give us better drainage, and gives us a really interesting texture to the wine. It is really warm out there. They do irrigate a lot. They have large access to water as well. And they do crop kind of heavier than what we'll crop in Carneros. But I'm really interested because Nero Diavola typically signals the end of our harvest. There have been multiple vintages where the last thing to come in. And yeah, and so it's kind of, it'll be interesting. We've picked this in November, for example. Normally we're picking most of our fruit in August, September, and some of it October, and this will come in November. And it basically just doesn't get ripe. It basically stalls out at around about 22 bricks. We've had some issues getting it ripe out there. So it's going to be really interesting in Carneros. I think we'll be, because it'll be under our control, we'll be able to manage the crop a bit better, and we'll also put a little bit more detail on the farming side of things. But still, this is delicious. It comes in nice and bright, really juicy fruits, really easygoing. We kind of do treat this like Pinot Noir because we know we're not making a big cab style wine. We'll be aggressive at the start and back off on our pump overs and our maceration, I suppose. So basically, it comes in already machine harvested. We put it into a tank, and then it gets pumped over twice a day. We'll back that off to once a day until it gets dry. Once it's dry, we'll press it off, and then we'll put it into barrels for aging. This was aged for around about 15 months, and it gets around about 30% new oak, French oak. Yeah, and so that's kind of fairly simple winemaking. We want to kind of let the fruit sing and stuff like that. And I think it's done a really good job. I really love the juicy acidity. I love all the berries, and it's really delicious, pleasant wine to drink. But I think Megan's bang on right. It's kind of, it's not that we don't want to make a Sicilian style Nero di Riavola, but it's kind of our philosophy at Jacuzzi is kind of we've got to play to our strengths in California, and I think Sicily's stronger at ripening Nero di Riavola.
I really like the wine because of the juicy fruit, but I find like a good contrast in there too. You get those juicy fruit, that mouth watering acidity, but then there's like a nice spiciness. There's like a chili pepper on the finish, light chili pepper, and I really love that.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, I actually do, as it has opened up, I get more of that like secondary spice character to this wine as well. I think it's also because of that juicy acidity and that brightness, that juicy fruit, it is a really good food pairing wine. I think maybe a wine that, I think it's a wine that's gonna age, especially because it has the acidity, but maybe not as much as something like the Aglianico, which we'll try next, which has a little bit more of the high tannin, high acid, higher alcohol. But what do you think, Tom? I would say like maybe five years.
Oh yeah, with that really nice acidity, it should age for a wee while. And also those fruits are so bright and vibrant. And like Jesse mentioned, those little hints of spice and stuff like that, that'll develop really nicely over the next few years, and you'll get more of those secondary and tertiary characters like that spice. You'll get a little bit more of the oak coming through as well as those kind of vibrant fruit flavors kind of settle down and meld into more kind of interesting characteristics. But this is a really young, vibrant wine that drinks really well right now. But I think you're going to get a lot of enjoyment by laying it down for 5 to 10 years even. I'd be interested
Oh,
to try
wow.
that in years.
So Tom, I had a question really quick. In the PowerPoint, I included a picture of the grapes. And the reason why I did was I found it pretty fascinating that most of the grapes that I got from a Google search were these really, really large bushels of grapes. Do they grow that big here in California as well?
Definitely. Like the morphology of the clusters are very, very similar. You get large clusters, and you notice you had that big shoulder or wing over the top of it. That's in it as well. So the cluster morphology isn't that different. I think the main difference, well, the biggest difference between, I just think maybe we were cropping it a little heavy out there in Tracy Hills would be my guess. And in Carneros, we'll be cutting that down to a really nice manageable amount. Yeah.
I got you. Those are some big grapes though. I just couldn't believe how big they were in my Google search.
Yeah, and it's kind of, Grenache, I think, is the biggest clusters I've seen. I've seen half-pound clusters.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and so you get some big clusters, yeah.
Tom, is wheat while a metric term?
Yes, very much so. It's wheat while, it depends on what you're using it for. You've got to, it's all in context, but it is metric.
That's Norman for you.
Yeah, Norman, love it. Getting called out. But okay, wait. And do you think like 5 to 7 years?
5 to 10. I would be. I think 5 to 10. I think towards 10 years you'll be the fruit will be lacking, and you'll see a lot of those spice characters come out, and the oak will probably be a little more dominant than most people like. Some people like that, depending on kind of what your palate is and things like that. I think 5 years will kind of be where it starts peaking, and over the 7 years you'll still be doing a really, really nice wine. Just kind of depends on what you like. If you like aged wines, 10 years easily.
Mm-hmm.
So I need to lose a bottle of this somewhere in my house for that long, because if I find it, I'll drink it. So good.
Yes.
There's that old saying, you get a case of it and you drink a bottle every year, and when it finally tastes good, you drink the rest of it.
Oh, I tried that, but I did it every month. Okay, I'll try it every year next time.
Oh my God. Okay, food. What do you guys say? Okay, obviously we have the chimichurri, Korean steak, any other like go-tos? I mean, and I think we actually developed that pairing in the old style, which was a little bit more ripe, I think a little bit more towards the darker fruits. And I don't know, I think with this brighter version, you could do something maybe that has more of that bright acidity as well. So maybe something tomato based. I mean, you know, I love a good pizza wine.
I would go with tacos with some some nice pico de gallo and stuff. So you
Yeah.
get the tomato in there, like you're saying, but like tacos with some nice spice. I think that would go well.
More
Yeah.
especially, I think the fattiness of the pork will go really well with the acidity. That'll bring
Ooh,
out
there
all
you
those
go.
flavors. Yeah, pork-based
Carnitas.
dishes would go great. Yeah, carnitas pastor. That'd be a lot of fun. Or you know, like I love doing pork chops with I do cherry tomatoes to give the acidity, and then a little balsamic in there to give some sweetness, and some vinegar
Ooh.
character in there as well, along with some spices and some herbs like fresh basil as well. Goes really well. A reduction of that altogether would go really nicely with this wine.
Yeah, yeah. And someone says pasta sauce, pasta with ragu, always is a good one. So I have
That's
to
good.
agree. All right, guys, a really spicy sauce. Ooh, I love it, Norman. All right, so moving on to the third wine, and this is definitely a Jacuzzi staple. We've made this for quite a while. This is our Aglianico, and you know, more bad news about this. This is coming from that same region. Ooh, someone says
Bad
waffle.
news bearer.
I know, trust me. That's coming from the same vineyard, that Tracy Hills vineyard, that the growers ripped out all of their Italian varieties. And Tom, did they plant Cabernet? Is that right?
Yeah, they planted cab. Yep.
Oh, cab from Tracy Hills. Yay.
Yeah.
I know it's such a bummer because you know we love supporting these farmers who are preserving these old Italian varieties that there really just isn't that much of throughout California. And I think we're kind of on the hunt right now for Aglianico.
I do have a little plan though. So I've got to iron out the details and things like that. But I've got my eye on some of the vineyards we currently grow in Sonoma. I've got to hopefully we can figure it out that we can graft over some vines where we're a little long on some Syrah, and we'll graft over some Syrah to some Aglianico, some Nero di Avola. Well, we've got Nero di Avola planted, some Aglianico and some of the
And
Syrah.
what's the other one? Sagrantino?
Sagrantino, yeah.
Is that?
And we should plant them
Yeah.
all. We should in reality control all our own grapes, because that'd be way more fun.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I do think it's interesting though, getting these varieties from all over California, because you really get to see how these different growing regions affect the varieties. But I mean, I am very biased. I do think Sonoma has some of the best growing conditions, and but anyway, yeah, let's plant all the Italian varieties. If you guys have any more suggestions, drop them in the chat. I don't know, yeah. But with that, let's move on to the Aglianico. I'll share my screen once again, and we can kind of dig deep into what is known as the Barolo of the South. And I think out of all of the wines that we are going to try, this is probably the most in line with what they do in Italy. This is mostly grown, or almost exclusively grown, in the Campania, I think it's Campania region. And, you know, as this says, the Barolo of the South, so it's known for having full body, really high tannin, really high acid, just like Nebbiolo. And I would say this is probably one of the more well-known Italian grape varieties as well. This is our 2018. And yeah, like I said, I think this kind of hits the nail on the head with that description. I think it's bigger bodied, really good progression of the wines from going from the Nero to this. It has those big tannin, definitely more of that fig. I get a lot of chocolate, kind of like a dried cranberry note almost. Like it does still have a little bit of a high note. But then I'm also getting some of that secondary characteristic. So a lot of leather, definitely some earthiness, some mushroom.
Yeah, dried mushroom or like some earthy mushroom.
Yeah, and just like maybe, and yeah, Jesse and I were talking about this. Maybe it's not bone dry. It's dry, but it definitely has a lot of fruit on there too. And yeah, dried fig for sure.
Some
And
raisin. We have dried figs, raisin.
yeah,
thing.
and yeah, Tom. Oh, okay. Before Tom, ask you to jump into the winemaking for this guy, we do have a question about explaining what
Okay.
tannins are. And I think the best way that I ever heard someone explain tannins was comparing them to tea. When you steep your tea for too long and you drink it, you kind of dry your mouth out. It tastes really astringent, and those are tannins. So basically, it's the drying of your mouth, whereas acidity in wine kind of makes you salivate a little bit. You get that like, oh, I want to drink some more. Whereas tannins kind of dry your mouth out.
Ooh, can I, my favorite one that it was ever explained to me that I use a lot is that like the tannins, which relate to the dryness or whatever, the tannins, they makes you feel like your teeth are wearing little wool sweaters.
What?
Like, seriously, like once you think about it, you're like, oh yeah, I could relate to that. Like when you have a really like tannic dry wine, you're like, wow, yep.
I love
Tom,
it. Okay.
Tom will explain the best way, I'm sure.
Yeah, I'm sure. But honestly, I'm stealing that from now on.
Yeah, so
Sweaters.
like acidity is like the juiciness or the sourness in the palate. Tannins pretty much all the rest of the texture that you get in there. There's different categories of tannins, but all the kind of drying, the tingly, aggressive tannins, and we describe tannins in different ways that seem kind of odd. You get gritty tannins, that's where it's kind of like aggressive and gritty. You get smooth and rich tannins, which are easy drinking. You get big tannins where it just kind of dries your mouth out and like whatnot. So we use like personification, I guess, in a certain sense, to describe these tannins, and they're just talking about different ways that it feels in your mouth. And so it's kind of a overly complicated way of telling you how dry and how much your teeth feel like they've got sweaters on them, or how bitter, how much like tea it is in your mouth. But I like the tea kind of because it does have a bitter element. But the good news about tannins, if they're good tannins and if they're delicious tannins, which this wine does, I get a little bit of that drying characteristic. I get a little bit of that bitter character as well. With a good wine, which has good tannin, good structure, good fruit, and some good acidity, as it ages, that tannin will sweeten and soften and become much more luxurious. And that's kind of the goal with aging wines. When you've got too much tannin, you lay it down for a few years, and after a few years, that tannin will literally polymerize. So anyway, it's complicated. It's a chemical reaction, and they become softer and supple and delicious. And that's kind of what you're hoping to get when you're aging wines.
Mhm.
That was-
So then the question goes on further. So how are tannins different from dryness?
So dryness is, yeah, that's a good question. So dryness is when we talk about dryness, we talk about the amount of sugar in a wine. So residual sugar. So yeah, when the grapes come in, they're full of sugar, and we turn that sugar into alcohol and CO2. When there's sugar left in a wine, it means we didn't ferment it all the way to dryness. Dryness is a technical term, which means we've removed all of the sugar out of the wine. So yeah, so that's dryness. And then the difference between tannin, it's a different kind of dryness. Like we're talking about sugar, it's dryness versus sweetness, and then tannin, it's like a drying characteristic in your mouth.
Right, it like sucks all the moisture out of your mouth.
Yeah, that's a good way to put it.
But yeah, I think that's a really good question, and it's kind of a hard distinction unless you're like really digging deep into those terms, because I think they get used interchangeably for sure.
Definitely.
Yeah. With that, Tom, can we kind of talk about how the Aglianico was made?
Yeah, I really like this wine, and I do like that analogy, the Barolo of the South. I think it's very, very apt. It's got all those characteristics that I find are really fantastic in Barolo, like the leather. I like the coffee that I get in here. I like the berry fruits, the fig, the detail, and the kind of complexity. And also, I find these flavors very recognizable. They're not hard to pull out. It's not like you're humming and hawing. You can recognize these very clear, beautiful characteristics. But in saying that, so it's from the same grower in Tracy Hills, a hot climate. This comes in on a good vintage. We'll pull it in maybe like 3 or 4 days before we pull in the Nero Diavolo. So very, very late, but we get a much higher ripeness. We get more flavor, we get more concentration, we get more texture, and we get a bigger style of wine. Pretty simple winemaking. Again, we're not trying to do too much. We're not trying to reinvent the wheel too much. This one, we just kind of want to basically make sure we get to dryness. We do a little bit more work to pump it over. You'll notice the color is kind of different. We want to extract more color out of it, so we'll be a bit more aggressive in our fermentation management. And we're
So
happy to.
do you keep? Does that mean that you keep it on the skins for longer?
There's a mixture of things. You can keep it on the skins longer, but it's more about we do more pump overs and we'll do more aggressive winemaking. So basically, we're trying to. The Nero Diavolo is a light, elegant wine, and so we'll do gentle versions of like pumping it over and things like that. So we'll do more punch downs and we'll do less pump overs. So we're mixing it up less. The Aglianico, we want to get everything out of it, so we're kind of aggressive with it. We beat it up and we want to get all the flavor out of it. We want to squeeze it for all it's worth. And so a different mindset slightly in the winemaking styles there. Nero Diavolo, we want it to be nice and elegant, and the Aglianico, we want to be a big, bold wine, so to speak. And then from there, the Aglianico gets 15 months aging. This gets a little bit higher oak as well. It can handle that. We want to get a little more texture in there as well. The oak gives some sweetness too. And then we bottle it. We're normally around about 2. The Aglianico gets about 2 weeks on skins as well. Yeah.
What are your thoughts, Jesse? Oh, and also we have a comment that says tannins are an antioxidant. So just want you guys all to know that you are being very healthy tonight. So
yes, that's what I was doing. I was just getting my antioxidants. I like this wine a lot. The Barolo of the South, I'd never heard that before until today while I was doing my research. This is another reason why I love doing these monthly virtual tastings, is I really get to like look more into a wine and learn a lot more. And so the Barolo of the South makes a lot of sense to me because I'm a big fan of the Barolo, and I really like very, very much the same with the leather and everything. This is a really good wine. I would definitely be really happy to have this with one of my steak dinners over a cab, honestly, because I just still find that there's some good acidity in there. And I just like acidity in general.
Right.
We need smell-o-vision for queso. I want to smell that really bad. It looks delicious. Yeah.
Yeah, seriously. What is that? Is that a tart? That looks good. All right. What would you guys pair with that? I would go Malvasia. Oh my God, great.
Oh, look at that. She's got the recipe.
So someone asked if these are monthly. Yes, we've been doing these monthly, I think since September. So it's been really fun. We actually really, like Jesse was said, I really enjoy them. It's a great way to connect with people, especially those who can't come to visit us. But even regardless of COVID, once we open fully back up, we still want to continue doing these. It's just it's kind of been a silver lining.
Lynn said, please set up a virtual tasting club membership. I thought about that and looked into that, but if we were to do it that way, this way it's better for you because you're a wine club member, you get your club shipments, and then you also get a discount on the virtual tasting kits. So this way is going to be better for you because I looked into the numbers. If we did just the club for virtual tastings, it's better this way for you.
Love it. Yes. And let's see, Norman votes for weekly. We'll see if we can get that done. Same time next week. Perfect. Honestly, it's just a wonderful Wednesday evening. I just get to sip wine and talk about wine. Can't complain. And like I said, we really do want to keep these going.
We really appreciate you guys all joining us. Actually, kind of a shout out to a couple of you. I know Pamela, I'm pretty sure she's been part of every single one of our virtual tastings. She's always here supporting us, which is really awesome. Thank you again. And then we have Norman Bailey. Man, that guy, can't take him anywhere.
Wait, really quick
You-
before.
Wait till I come down there, Jesse. I'm gonna come down there and look for you.
Oh no.
Hey, I have a
Oh, no.
request for Tom though. Tom, could you put out a book, one of those Wee Wiles for Dummies?
That'd be a good one. That would be really great. And it would, I could fully do that. That'd be a lot of fun.
Wait, and really quick, Tom, where do we get the oak barrels from?
So we used to get a mixture of French, Hungarian, and American oak. We have been moving more steadily towards French oak. So mainly it's French. There's a bunch of different coopers that we work with, depending on the wine, the style, and stuff like that. I work with Megan a lot. We do tastings. Every single wine that we make, we taste every single barrel and we kind of dial it in. And next year we kind of get it better, which is really fun. If you're ever out, that's a fun part of the job, actually. But also we still do the Primitivo is still an American oak wine. We really like the American oak sweetness that it gives to the Primitivo. So there are certain wines that'll always kind of stick to American oak, but most of our wines are moving more towards that French oak sort of demographic, so to speak.
Yeah, thanks. And then really quickly before we wrap everything up, I just want to let everyone know that we are open at our Sonoma location. We have been open from Thursday to Sunday, but starting May 1st, we're also going to be open on Mondays, which is really exciting. And then hopefully in June, we will be open all 7 days. So yeah, that's a big hope. And, you know, we would love to welcome you guys to the winery. So if you make plans to come out, we will be anxiously awaiting your visit. And yeah, thank you all again so much for joining us. We have so much fun with all of you. And again, special shout out to my cousin Corey. I love you. And my uncle Charlie and Gina. Happy birthday, Corey. And yeah, really all of you guys, thank you. And hope to see
Ken,
you
I
next
love your
time.
sign in the background. That's freaking hilarious.
What does it say?
His sign says is aging. His name is aging faster than my wine.
He
I would
said
say
that.
my wine and I are on the same aging.
He said that because
But-
my birthday was yesterday, and he thinks he can beat me now.
I'm just happy you can still read it.
Happy birthday.
Yes. So we got a question about when you can sign up and order the next one. I believe the next one is already.
It's already on there on the website, ready for purchase. You can
Yeah, so we have
purchase
the
it
May
and
virtual
sign up.
tasting listed. We're trying something new. We're going to be doing it on Friday, which is super fun.
Yay.
It's going to be like a fun wrap up for the week. And again, just like a great time to hang out, drink some wine, and talk about all things Italian varieties. So we have the.
6 bottles,
What was that?
6
He said
bottles,
6 bottles for
6 bottles.
Friday.
6 bottles.
Oh, yeah,
And
right.
then,
He wants to do a tasting of 6 bottles on a Friday.
done. Easy.
We'll send you 6 bottles, Norm. Sorry.
So we're going to be trying the Arnase, the Primitivo, and again, one of our new varieties are Grenache. So hopefully you guys can all join us. It's going to be really fun. Everything is up on the website. So hope to see you next time. And
Yeah.
with that, have a wonderful Wednesday evening.
Thanks so much, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Shout out to all of
Thank
you
you very
guys.
much. Thank you.
Hey, thanks for joining, you guys. It was awesome.
Thank you from New York.
Thank you from New York State.
Hey, Lynn, please, I'll give you a call tomorrow. If you're interested in a wine club, I can hook that up for you. We have lots of wine club members in Wisconsin, so I prefer Minnesota because I'm a Vikings fan, but Green Bay wine club members are okay. I mean, I usually make bets with them throughout the football season.
I love it.
Any, just curious, I wanted to ask, any favorite wines? The three wines were so different. Does anyone have any preferences and why? Because I'm always curious about that from a
Yeah.
winemaker perspective.
Ooh, the Malvasia. Yeah, I kept mine. It's still here.
Yeah. Malvasia. Cool.
I mean, I love the Nero. It's mine are definitely those two. I think it's just that the lighter style is really where lately my palate is loving the lighter style wines.
I really like the Aglianico. I really like the seriousness of it. I like the ageability.
Yeah.
I really look forward to drinking it in a few years. I'm going to be hiding a few bottles of myself.
Nice. I'm a fan of the Nero. It's still a little fruity. So what I actually think is going to be great with it is to put a little chill on it this summertime.
Okay, I was thinking the same thing. So the Dolcetto, I love chilled. I love drinking it. Again, it's that juicy fruit, and I think the Nero would be good that way too.
Yes.
Yeah.
Good point.
And with grilled meats, the Nero will be great.
Mhm.
Absolutely.
What do you say your favorite was, Jesse?
My favorite is the Nero for sure. Out of the two red wines on this one, I really love the Nero. It drinks so easily and it's perfect. You know, I have like this feeling of excitement for the summertime. Lot different from last summer because what were you excited about? But so this summer, I feel like this is going to be my outdoor wine, hanging out, having a barbecue with some friends.
No.
So really looking forward to that.
Yes. Slowly back to normal.
Yes.
So now would you cool that down if you're having it outside and when it's hot?
You don't need to, but you
Nero.
can.
Well, there are some red wines where you can't have it cold at all or
Yeah.
it tastes like crap. No
No,
offense. I mean, I'm not
no,
saying this is
totally.
one. I've had some cold red wines and I'm like, this is absolutely disgusting cold.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
so-
like it warm.
So what happens with certain red wines like Cabernet Sauvignon, you don't want to chill. What happens
Right.
is you lose the fruit character will get dropped down. So when you chill wines, it actually drops the amount of fruit you get. And you'll also accentuate the acidity, and then the tannins really will come through quite aggressively. Because the Nero Diablo has got nice acidity, that juicy acidity, and the tannins are so low, chilling it to like 45 degrees is actually going to be a lot of fun on a cold day.
Yeah.
So you
And
don't
the
want-
Experiment.
the next question is, are you going to create a cheat sheet for us?
how to serve wines and when and where and with what food.
And
Yeah, we
three
should do
bits.
that.
Yeah.
I mean, at least like when to drink them and how to chill them or not.
Yes.
And the piece about the tannins, that was me. So I would very much appreciate that because I can't seem to grasp my
Yeah.
brain around it.
No, that would be. We should do that beforehand and send it out to the team.
Yeah.
With
No,
a
absolutely.
tasting.
It's a
It
great
wouldn't
idea.
take us long, you know. We could whip that up pretty easy between the three of us. I'm sure.
Yeah.
It'd be a Zoom call of 5 minutes, so we'd be like, hey, yeah.
Perfect.
Funny enough, my last wine tasting was actually at Jacuzzi a few years ago.
Oh,
Perfect.
So it was nice to finally get back to it in a sense.
yes.
Well, it's nice to do this, and it's nice to see everyone's faces, and it's nice to share wine again. And well, we'll be sharing more wine again soon. So yeah, it feels like it's getting close to back to normal a little bit. Yeah.
Absolutely. Good.
Well-
All right. Anyone have any interesting pets? We got some rabbits last time.
I know. That was my
Yes.
sister Mariah, actually.
Mariah,
which
is the rabbit
is in
around?
here yeah, she's in here tonight too with her husband.
Babies definitely count. Yes.
Yeah, last month she had the white rabbit, and then we had the
Oh, we have a
what
kitty.
was that
Oh.
thing? The kota or whatever. It was
A
like a
doggy.
raccoon with a long face.
Oh my God. So
Oh, we got a
cute.
dog. Oh, look at
cat.
that.
Everyone's wanting to get their animals.
Yay.
Oh look! Oh my God, a kitten. So
Oh, that's a
cute.
cute
Wait,
kitty.
who's got the kitten?
Oh,
Oh, I love kittens.
Seth. Oh, so cute. And then
Oh.
Jennifer has a cute cat. A chicken. We got a chicken.
Chicken.
We got a chicken.
Wait,
in the
no,
house.
somebody's got a chicken and just the chicken on
We
hand.
have-
I love it.
I've got a
I
chicken
love
on
it.
hand.
Just-
We had that Mickey Mouse.
I'm just gonna go
outfit.
outside and grab a chicken.
Okay.
Oh,
So
look, we
Nick-
got 2 chickens.
Oh, okay. That's a
That
good
guy's got a
looking
sweet
chicken.
fro.
We have 7
That
chickens in
chicken
the
one's a
house.
little weird looking.
Oh my God. Are they in the house?
That one, yeah.
They're not in the house. They live outside
Around the house? Are they egg laying chickens?
You better believe it.
Nice.
Amazing.
Okay.
Otherwise, they're in the pot chickens.
So I'm gonna trump you guys next time. It's about, I don't know, 100 yards that way. We've got a little pig. So
You have a pig, Tom?
yeah, we got a pig. It's not
Oh my
leash
gosh.
trained, so it'll be a bit of an adventure, but we'll figure it out.
So do you guys see Mariah's rabbit? This rabbit has the
Oh, that rabbit's
funniest
beautiful.
face ever. Oh my gosh. That's hilarious. That's something.
That's awesome.
I don't think he likes you, Mariah. Put him down.
Puppies.
I love it. This is so fun.
When did you get kittens, Megan?
No, they're puppies.
Oh, these are puppies?
Wait, Megan, you have kittens?
No, they're puppies.
Oh man, when did you
Puppies.
get puppies?
Yeah,
What?
my parents' dog had 6 puppies.
Corey,
What kind of puppies are those?
Where is your puppy, Corey? Where's
Yeah,
your
Corey has a puppy.
Megan, what kind of puppies are those?
What kind of-
Megan, your puppies are so small.
I know they're so little. They're I think 3 weeks old, and they are Jack Russell, Caterpillar, and Mini Aussie. So they're very cute. Oh, look at that dog. That dog.
I love, yeah, the Hoffmans. I love your dog.
Yes, so cute.
Beautiful dog.
This is Sherman.
Sherman.
Sherman is an Old English sheepdog. He's 2 years old.
Oh wow,
He's a big boy.
great to see your pets. It's awesome.
Okay. Sign in.
Okay. All right.
Happy birthday, Corey. I love you. We love you. Happy birthday.
What, leave?
Okay, yeah.
Was this a fun experience for you guys for your birthday?
And Megan, this is awesome. You guys have such a great idea.
Ah, oh my God, so cute.
My dad has been begging me to unmute, so Dad.
Uncle Charlie. Oh, you guys want to know? This is an original jacuzzi. This is Charlie. This is my Uncle Charlie. Charlie Jacuzzi. Get up.
Charlie Jacuzzi. This is fun.
Great. Well, listen, thank you all again. Have a wonderful evening, and we hope to see you next month.
If you guys have any questions, just go ahead and email me at propellerclub@jacuzziwines.com, or you can respond to any email you receive or any of your receipt emails. If you have any questions or concerns, the next virtual tasting is available online already.
Great. Bye, all.
Thanks so
Thank
much,
you.
guys.
Thank you. And then you're gonna make a save.